There are whispers of a strategy apparently brewing among Senate Republicans that could lead to some of Trump's most deranged picks, particularly for crucial positions in national security, actually being blocked. They seem to have worked something out that might allow them to bar these psychos from getting into government, but also to maybe avoid an Elon Musk funded primary that could destroy their political career. And here is Katty Kay to talk a little bit about that strategy.
My understanding is that John Thune, the senator from North Dakota, has to think, how can I protect some of my senators? He can't have all the same senators go out and say no against all of the picks. And so he's coming up with some kind of a rotation scheme. Maybe it's Tom Tillis votes against one of them. Maybe it's Joni Ernst votes against one of them. Maybe somebody else votes against one of them. The thinking is they can probably get rid of 4, and that includes Matt Gaetz. But you don't want always to have the same senator, because that opens them up to too much fury from the MAGA crowd.
Yeah, and look, so the strategy isn't really anything new. As Joe Scarborough goes on to explain, it's a thing they did with legislation in the House as well. I do just want to briefly point out that, like, fundamentally tied in there is a lack of courage. I really want to block all 4 of these people because I think that they're a lethal threat to our nation, but like, I don't know, the primaries. So can we figure out something where we distribute it? But regardless, Trump is vindictive, and Elon Musk does have infinite money to primary literally every single politician in America if he wants to, and we'll talk more about that. But I'm glad that they had the strategy, JR. And right there, apparently in the talk, there's the number 4 has flown around. I don't know if Matt Gaetz is 1. It seems like, as we'll get into, Gabbard might be 2. We'll talk more about her. Maybe Hegseth is 3. RFK Jr. could be 4. I don't know exactly which, but blocking 4 of these monsters is better than I expected. And it makes me wonder if maybe with the Senate doing this plotting, and by the way, all this plotting could fall apart and they could all fall in line and vote for every one of these. But if they don't, maybe there will be some of the institutional guardrails that protected us in the first Trump term from some of his worst excesses. What do you think?
I guess, well, maybe on accident, these institutional guardrails, maybe not for the sake of the guardrails and they want to protect those, but more for, I guess, we're relying on the Senate Republicans to kind of save us from certain levels of disastrous decisions from this administration. But I think maybe the reason some of these things may happen, similarly with Matt Gaetz, there was some infighting or maybe even some folks who were thinking, yo, I don't want this. And this is disastrous even for me. So it gets to a personal, I think, not vendetta even, just protection of themselves. Because senators care about their careers too, to a degree. They figure the reason they've all coalesced behind Donald Trump now is because they're thinking, this is the best way for me to advance my career. I'm better off this way. I'm better off being the person that follows behind Donald Trump rather than being the guy who fights with him and then gets booted out of the party like Liz Cheney was, right? But it comes to a point where they begin to think, I'm gonna be held responsible for these decisions, for confirming these folks. And if they follow through on the things that we know that they can and would do, that's my name attached to it. I'm not Teflon Don, just that guy is. So that may be some of their motivations. And there's probably definitely some divisions between some of these new wave of guys and the old guard of Republicans who kind of never liked Donald Trump, but went along and acted like they love him so much. But now when it becomes their responsibility, there might be enough of them that want to not address or even allow all this.
Yeah, I like the idea that it could work that way, that, if they vote for these people and they come in and they do terrible things and be consequences. I don't know that I have enough faith in either our political system or our citizenry, but look, if they're willing to risk Trump nuking them or whatever to shoot one of them down, then that at least implies that maybe there's still something buried deep inside of some of these senators where they think like, hey, I'm a real man or a real woman. I'm supposed to have an opinion and safeguard the country, Constitution, or whatever it is that they, generally pretend to believe. Maybe they do believe a little bit of that, because it would be the easiest thing in the world to just cheerlead for these unqualified maniacs and put them in these positions. Now, look, there's also a cynical way to look at this, and I'm not saying the cynical way is inaccurate. I'm just saying it's relatively cynical. Would be that their opposition to these candidates is that it's not that they're they really think that they're unqualified or they really think they do damage, they might think that they wouldn't do what their donors would prefer a person in that position to do. So not all of this necessarily is like, the red badge of courage or whatever, but at least they might stop some of these people that are utterly unqualified and would be dangerous in those positions.
And it does seem like Tulsi Gabbard's kind of topping that list.
Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.